Hello, humans of YouTube. Today we have a lovely review of a little film called Unsane, directed by Steven Soderberg, who is best known for his work directing Traffic and Erin Brockovich. It stars Claire Foy as Sawyer Valentini, a no-nonsense woman who has moved across the country to get away from her stalker, David Strine, played by Joshua Leonard. However, she keeps seeing him everywhere, so she decides to go seek help from a psychiatrist who deems her a danger to herself and others, and Sawyer is unwittingly placed into a mental ward. And people, after that little introduction that sets the course for the events going forward, this film goes completely insane, no pun intended, and not in a good way. Seriously, what in the hell was this film? Now, it will be hard for me to talk about this film without spoiling anything, but I will try my best and give prior warning if I am about to fail. Now, I will start with some good things, because there are things to like in this film. Claire Foy, for one, delivers a solid performance, with a particular highlight being when she slowly picks apart a certain character. That scene alone makes this film worth watching, just because of how methodical she breaks down this character's walls, starting with a few pokes and prods, but eventually just becoming full of venom. It is marvellous to watch. Also, the concept of this is really good. It starts off quite similar to A Cure for Wellness, and the intrigue about it, if she is crazy or not, and if this hospital she is in is legit or not, is a good setup. Unfortunately, this film does the mistake of showing its cards too early, and it doesn't fully commit to keeping certain things secret. There are things it tries to keep subtle, but only half hides them, making it obvious that a certain plot point will be taking place. You really don't have to try hard to figure out anything that really affects the film. Now, going back to the positives, I really like the friendly dynamic between Sawyer and another patient, Nate Hoffman, played by Jay Pharoah, as theirs was the only connection on screen that felt relatively human, and Nate's character is really likable. He has a huge influence on the plot. Unfortunately, his story arc is one of those the film only half tries to hide, so you pretty much see where his story was going. Now, in terms of what's good, that's pretty much all there is to enjoy in this film, because the rest of it is an embarrassingly bad mess. For starters, the feel of this film is cheap. A lot of cinematography and lighting feels very cheap and student-like, and even the choice of credit font size and colour is ridiculously jarring. Some of the sets are insanely overlit and out of focus, and it is really weird because in the institution there are some decent shots and camera movements, but in other scenes it feels like they're just doing different angles for the pure sake of having a different angle. I actually had to check if there were two cinematographers working on this. Turns out it's Soderberg operating under an alternative name, almost as if he's embarrassed by the cinematography. There are little cutaway shots that establish certain items that are clearly there to come into play later in the film. As cinematography is my favourite part of cinema, this hurt to watch at times. Also, without getting into spoilers, these so-called medical professionals are some of the most stupid and needlessly irritating characters I have ever seen in a film. There is some stuff that they should either be noticing or at least be suspicious of, and they could at least be less vague with Sawyer. Half the time she goes crazy is caused by the husk-like indifference of these professionals, and it's stupidity that allows a lot of the BS that happens, especially in the second half, and anyone with half a brain could have foreseen what these medical professionals are missing. Right down to two characters that don't look anything alike, yet still they are mixed up, and how certain things happen in this film are just beyond belief. Oh, and Matt Damon is in this, continuing his streak of what the hell happened films. If you've seen my downsizing review, you will know how disappointed I have been with Damon's film appearances recently, and in this he effectively is playing the same character that he does in Suburbicon, right down to how the characters are dressed. And this is just one flashback sequence to explain the history of Sawyer and David that doesn't happen until about 2/3 into the film, almost as if the film remembered to do that last minute because it realised what little sense it was making at that point. There are basically 3 plots going on at once, and it's hard to invest in any of these side stories. MVP wise, Claire Foy is easily the best part of this film, due to the fact that she just manages to find treasure in the garbage material that she is given to work with in this film, and she does her best with it, which is all you can ask from your lead actor in these sorts of films. All in all, this is just one of those films where there is good stuff and you can see why some people may like it. But for me, this film has too many technical flaws to ignore and the story is just too contrived for me to give it a pass. But like I've said, there are good ideas and good performances in it. So with that, I brand it as that barely remembered lukewarm tea you almost forgot about. Anyway, Unsane, has anybody seen it? If you have, let me know down in the comments below and hit that round subscribe button for more reviews coming all the time. And people, before I sign off, I just want to say a big thank you to those who have watched my Ready Player One review, which you can click on now. It really means a lot. Anyway, this is the TheSHPodcast.